We've lived here 16 years and we milk around about 100 cows. On separate blocks we got about 700 acres. We feed silage and also they go to oats during winter mainly, and also we put minerals and that in their mix, and also they get the pellets for the dairy. We've used Riverina feeds for 16 years and we seem to be able to average 28 litres a cow, and our protein milk fat seems to be able to stay the same, and we're very happy with Riverina feeds.
When you're balancing all the demands of a farm, you don't need to be balancing stock feed formulas. At Riverina, that's our job. We're more than a feed company. We're a partner in your business, and we know nutrition is one of the most important ingredients in your herd management. (1927), and Riverina Stock Feeds was established to service the animal feed industry throughout New South Wales and Queensland. Decade by decade, we've grown a network of support, locating branches in the grain-producing areas of southeast Queensland, New South Wales and Western Australia, while building a successful grain trading operation with direct acquisition from farmers. Our premium animal feeds are manufactured and supplied by 6 Riverina mills, each strategically positioned to supply our markets across Queensland and New South Wales. Keeping pace with our rural market, we built the Oakey cotton seed packing plant in 1990 to support the rapidly growing cotton industry on the Darling Downs. Here, cotton seed is acquired from growers and packed for export to Japan and Korea, or used in the local feedlot and dairy industries, proving to be an excellent feed in drought times with its high oil and protein content. With this focus on partnering our rural communities, we've continued to build our services. Today, Riverina is a wholly owned subsidiary of Mitsubishi Corporation, with operations divided into 3 business divisions: the manufacture and sale of stock feeds, the purchase and sale of agricultural commodities to markets across Australia, the Pacific, Asia and Europe, and the purchase and export of meat products to the United States, Japan and Korea, all overseen by a head office team in West End, Brisbane. The science of producing high-performance feeds begins with quality raw materials coupled with sound scientific formulation practices. At Riverina, all raw materials undergo stringent quality control measures, carried out on site by our own qualified nutritionists in consultation with industry-accredited specialists. The production process also plays a major role in guarding the correct nutritional status of our specialised feeding programs. Dry mixes are blended and further processed to produce a wide range of feed types, including coarse and fine mash blends, fine, medium and coarse feed crumbles, and a range of pellets of varying sizes and length. The extensive range of Riverina suspension supplements is the result of years of research to meet demand for a liquid supplement with a balance of vitamins, minerals, energy and protein in a solution that will never separate, settle or need shaking. These suspension supplements can be transported anywhere and still remain suspended to deliver a uniform level of measured nutrition in every serving.
We purchased Maydene in 1984. This was a vacant forestry paddock behind us. We've built the feedlot from the ground up and it now houses 10,000 cattle. We run 1,400 Wagyu of our own and custom feed to balance for other clients from all around Australia. We have a full-time nutritionist working for us and all rations are tested regularly in the lab to make sure that all specifications are met. Riverina products we've used for many years. The product is very, very good quality and the service we get from our local branch is excellent.
We've owned it probably 11 years. Started intensive beef 6-7 years ago. We bring them here as weaners. Nutritionally, it's just your basic feedlot diet, 12-14% protein and 14% energy. So we have people that set our diets for us. You can tell within 20 days whether everything's fine or it isn't. Riverina's always been the best as far as I could see. So we've never varied since we've gone with them. I've run 4 different feedlots in the last 20 years. I've been obliged to use other suppliers. I've used 3 or 4 other suppliers, but Riverina's always been the best as far as I could see. That's what we have never changed since we've been here.
Raising beef cattle requires intensive and specialised nutrition to meet production goals. From the Riverina range of pellets, meals and suspension supplements, you're backed by world-class nutritional science, carefully matched to your production goals. It's a science that recognises that the nutrition invested in raising healthy calves will be different to the demands of a stud cattle farm, or the nutritional profile needed to run a backgrounder herd, and the intensive high-energy formulas required to finish feedlot cattle quickly. The high-producing dairy cow must have the best nutrition, so to optimise your dairy herd's productivity and long-term performance, the Riverina dairy range is scientifically prepared to care for your complete herd, from your young unweaned and weaned calves to your growing heifers and your pregnant and lactating mothers. From birth to weaning to growing and breeding, Riverina nutritionally supports pig breeders stage by stage, using modern superconditioning technology that increases digestibility, feed intake and growth in a range of pig crumbles, meals and concentrates.
Look, basically we've been on the land here in probably say 20 or 30 years. It's a family property, been since back even to my grandfather. We've been involved in abattoir work and lamb producing, cattle producing in that entire time in some way or other. Well look, we'd like to see the lambs gone in 6 to 8 weeks, as simple as that. We leave the nutrition side up to Riverina itself. They've formulated a custom feed for us, which we put into a pellet. We generally used a meal at one stage, but that side of thing we've left that all to them, and it's getting the results for us. Yep, this year at the exhibition we won the champion pen of carcass lambs and the reserve champion pen of carcass lambs, which is also first and second in the heavyweight lamb class. Only our second attempt at it. Last year we won the reserve champion pen and won the heavyweight lamb class last year. So yeah, we did have some success here. It was great.
I've been farming probably 20-25 years. So the goats, they need 3 main types of feeds. They need roughage, and then they need concentrates, or the pellets, which come from Riverina. We depend heavily on some of your food nutritionists to design our concentrate ration. In our both dairy and goats, we use concentrates, which are mainly grains, and Glenn is a marvellous example of how to keep up with what's happening in the grain market, and he is always willing to help. A phone call and I know what's going on in the market because he's done the research. The second one is Neil Doyle, who keeps us supplied with the concentrates, and he goes out of his way to come out and help us. So why do we use Riverina? Personal service.
From the family pony to a working horse, from breeding mares to racehorses, when you have different workloads, temperaments and training programs, it's essential to choose a horse feed with the right energy and nutrient intake. The Riverina range is based on equine nutrition science, taking the guesswork out of balancing your horse's rations. Whether you're feeding sheep or goats in times of poor pasture or drought, fattening lambs in penned or paddock environments, or boosting essential nutrients for stock grazing with an abundance of dry feed, Riverina's range of sheep and goat pellets, meals and liquid formulas provide the essential nutrients and trace minerals for healthy growth, immunity and reproduction.
We've got about 1,700 acres and we've been here about 28 years. Our flock is based on Hillcrest and blood sheep, and this time of the year we need nutritional value in our sheep because it's going on towards the end of winter, and that's when we want a supplement like Riverina. We used to grow oats once upon a time and have that, but we found that that's too expensive now, and we get better value out of the rumen pellets we get from Riverina. You've got to keep the same feed up to them all the year round to have quality wool, good strength in your wool. We've been using Riverina products for many years now. They came up with a pellet for sheep, which is grain and all the nutrients such as calcium and phosphates and cobalt and all that sort of stuff. Yep.
For poultry farmers growing broilers, the first stage in the Riverina two-stage feeding program is the broiler starter crumbles, a fine crumble that minimises wastage and improves digestibility. The second stage of the feeding program is the broiler finisher pellets that supply a consistent intake of nutrients. For a flock of laying birds, the nutritional quality of your hen's feed is the single most important factor in egg production, size and shell quality. Riverina produce specific pellet, meal or mash formulas, balanced for either high-producing laying hens or domestic laying hens producing table eggs. From the simple grain mixes of our early years in the 1920s to today's nutritionally complex formulas that support your herd's general health, genetic potential and fertility, Riverina manufactures a range of powerful feed formulation packages adapted to meet a constantly evolving market. Many of Australia's most successful farmers rely on Riverina stock feeds for concentrated nutrition. And with our support services in agricultural commodities and the export of meat, we've extended our commitment to rural Australia. Riverina, more than a feed company, a partnership for your business.